everyone, it's Suzi here, and today we're playing Watcher of Realms. For today's video, we need to take a look at Beelzebub, Lord of the Flies. He's finally almost here. Alright, so this is a hero that we knew about a long time ago because he was with a batch of new heroes to come that never came because of a really long delay in an update due to some annoying Apple Store politics. Speaking of annoying in politics, we know that this is not all perfect yet regarding the US being back with Watcher of Realms. I know some Apple or Android devices are not able to install it, while other people are saying it's actually working for them too, but I think they might be non-US people. But I did ask if there's any news on the mobile devices getting everything back in order to install and be able to update, and they just said they're working on it in a very political answer. So guys, don't shoot the messengers. As content creators, we're just giving you the info we got, and well, we don't have any information outside of what you know, and what we know is that the US is still semi-back, but is it back forever? I don't know. So make your decisions wisely in the game. Be smart, but do you. Keep in mind, at the end of the day, any of these games that we play could go away in an instant, and they owe us nothing. That is what we agree on, what we agree to when we play. You're paying for entertainment. You go to the movie theater, you watch a movie, you don't take the movie home with you. You spend 100 hours on a mobile game, it dies, you spend 100 hours of entertainment, it is what it is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just how this works, and that's actually in the TOS, that we don't own our accounts, we don't own anything. The companies can make any decision they want at any time, and it's just the risk we have to take if this is the type of entertainment we're going to consume. At the end of the day, I think that's a good quick pause to have that little thought and reminder. While it's frustrating, and it's definitely not something I am a fan of, the lack of information, meaning up until the last moment, allowing people to spend, I don't think that was okay by any means. However, it's unfortunately the reality that could happen in literally any game we play like this. So it's a risky industry, and there's a reason that a lot of people don't like gacha games, don't like the gacha industry. Why do you think Mabucket quit to begin with a long time ago? And he always said he doesn't like this industry. It's a dirty industry. It's not, you know, something he wants to support. I remember even Fastidious saying the same thing early on in the stages too, and I'm sure he still feels the same way a little bit. And even me, at the end of the day, it's like you want to find a perfect balance, but can we? I don't know. Hopefully Godforge and Fateless will be trying our best to be that middle ground of logical, making money as a company in the industry, but caring about the player base genuinely. And yeah, anyway, sorry for this few little minute rant to start off with. I just wanted to take a moment so you guys know that I'm here, I'm aware, I'm not just moving on like nothing bad is happening. I'm very aware that not everything is perfect or hunky-dory, and it very well could be in a couple months, 2-3 months, bye-bye US again, I don't know. Alright, now rant over, and let's get into this character. Overall, we have lots to talk about. Look at him. He looks amazing. Looks really amazing. Love his vibe. They did a very good job with all the details. He's really creepy. He's got 4 arms, but it's more like an accessory instead of 4 functioning arms, which I think is really clever. It's like these have their own movement that are on like a loop separate than the other ones. It's really interesting from an artistic side, and like being part of a team developing a game to see some fun stuff like this. I think that's pretty clever. All right, so Beelzebub. It's not Beelzebub. It's Beelzebub. Oh my god, I still want to call him Beelzebub. I'm sorry, guys. Lord of the Flies. Summoning the putrid flies, Beelzebub excels at support, capable of slowing and severely weakening his enemies. Ally buff and a summoner with a pretty solid range. His cost is only 10. It's pretty awesome. Very low base attack though with only 2300, so as much as he sounds like he can do a ton of damage, it's a quirky kit, but it's a lot of his, I guess, synergy with his faction are really where he's going to shine, right? So low attack, but cost of only 10 to deploy, an attack interval of 2 seconds. And he does have a talent where the damage dealt by the hero and the putrid flies inflicts slow on the target. So this is huge. If you're working with those cultist lords, you know, you want to be inflicting a, like, what do they call them? Not even a debuff, pretty much. But in this case, slow is really great. Movement speed minus 50% for this one. And the putrid flies inherit 100% of the hero's attributes, roam within the hero's basic attack range, and deal 100% damage to 5 enemies with basic attacks. And the basic attack deals 100% AoE damage to 5 enemies. So it kind of just is like having 2 of him on the field, right? It's pretty cool. So it sounds like he's low. It sounds like his damage is actually pretty low. But in the end, there's actually some interesting potential there as well. So, summoning putrid flies for his ultimate, Corrupted Swarm. The putrid flies generate a powerful vortex that pull up to 10 nearby enemies toward its center with 2 times the strength and inflict slow. And this slow is a 75% decrease in movement speed for 2 seconds. The vortex lasts for 5 seconds. That does go up more. The passive, during the ultimate, the hero and the putrid flies release Plague of Ruin 1 time every 5 seconds, dealing 150% AoE magic damage to up to 8 targets and inflicting magic vulnerability on them. So it is just the 10% damage taken increase, vulnerability, only the 10%, not the bigger version, but maybe that's higher with the Awakenings, I can't remember. Is other passive, Darkness Rising, during the ultimate applies a 35% inspiration to allies in the hero's skill range, reduces the attack interval of allied summons adjacent to the putrid flies by 25%. So he provides this big inspiration here. There's, like, you see, books up to 15% more here. Proportional with his attack, just like Dolores. It's a Dolores that can do damage, guys. It's pretty cool. He's going to be highly sought after. And I really love that they have this guy who's going to do some interesting damage and like crowd control with the slowing and have great synergy to enable any other cultist damage dealers by also adding not only the slow for the sake of the Lord bonuses, you know how that they do more damage when they're under those effects, but also inspiration buffs. That's just so cool. I'm so excited for him. He's going to be so good. As someone who finally got Morrigan, I might have to actually build more of my cultist heroes. I do love using Magda. She's great. And her skin is beautiful that they added. And then we have, of course, Honora going along with the putrid flies, that she would boost the damage of the summons. So this is just such a cool character that's going to be a good hybrid as far as like DPS support and crowd control. He's going to be a little bit of everything, but it's really this exciting inspiration that we're all loving to see here. I think that's what the hype would be all about, let's be honest. Vulnerability magic damage increases to 20%, so this starts at like 10%, like I said. So his Awaken 1 here makes it go up to 20%, so much better. Again, enabling the entire team to do more damage. That's magic damage anyway, which usually the cultists are kind of gonna be that, so perfect. Alrighty, why am I blurry? Am I blurry? It's fine. Attack plus 300, which is a lot for him with his low base. Awaken 3, when attack deals damage to the target, restores 2% rage. and then cost -2 for Awaken 4 and Awaken 5. If the target receives 2 instances of Plague Ruin within 3 seconds, they will take 1 additional instance of true damage equal to 100% of the hero's attack. So this Awaken 5 is really going to help him to be a proper DPS as well as give everybody that inspiration buff and apply the debuffs and apply the crowd control, because he's adding true damage based on his attack, and you're going to go crazy with his attack because you want his inspiration to be as beneficial as possible. So this just all lends itself well into a really unique kit. And with true damage, you don't got to worry about crit anyway. So this is a character that you're going to go with, honestly, just focus the attack. You could focus attack speed and rage regen as well. And you really just, as the other substats, but just full attack on this guy. And then especially if you end up going crazy and getting him Awaken 5 eventually, he's going to actually be a pretty solid damage dealer. I think that's pretty cool. All right, now let's move right on quickly to the lore. The spawning. What's that buzzing? Yalnor Farmer. Somewhere provincial and largely inconsequential within Taya's great borders, there lived a man named Victor Eldridge, a scholar of alchemy who quickly gained renown for his dedication to dissecting eldritch and arcane substances most men wouldn't dare put a scope to. Victor was initially conscripted by the Cursed Cult, a faction with an affinity for the clandestine and bizarre. Their aim for the young alchemists study and harness the tides of the darkness that plagued Taya, that they might wield it for their own gains. Under their auspices, Victor delved deep into the forbidden text and conducted daring experiments to understand the nature of the corruption seeping through the land. During one fateful experiment, Victor heard a voice, sickly sweet and as dark as devil's iris, luring him to consume the spores laden with the essence of the tides. He obeyed. These insidious particles took root within him, festering and spreading like a malignant disease. In his fevered state, he now heard an entire black symphony of voices, whispers of power and promise of domination that twisted his mind and snapped his very soul. As the corruption within him suppurated, Victor's body underwent a grotesque metamorphosis. His flesh crawled and warped, and from his head sprouted a hideous mutated form. This monstrous growth between his shoulders soon took on a life and voice of its own, consuming Victor's very identity like a bulbous parasite. A ram's skull was donned on a grotesque mask over a new head's face. Tattered insect wings sprouted from his back, and a second set of sinewy arms burst from his chest. With this new form came new power. The being that once was Victor Eldridge now referred to itself as Beelzebub, as if the new growth had supplanted his very essence. Beelzebub ascended to become one of the Cursed Cult's most feared members, not through loyalty, but by sheer intimidation and raw power. Commanding swarms of flies, he sent them ahead of the tides like locusts to ravage and despoil lands in preparation for their corruption. The once thriving landscapes of Taya withered under the dual assault of Beelzebub's insectile minions and the relentless decay wrought by the tides. However, Beelzebub now prefers solitude, often retreating to the fetid, swampy corners of the Blackroot Bog, where the oppressive darkness and rot mirrors his own inner corruption. It's here he lures his prey, using the dark allure of the tides, to feast upon the flesh of those malleable enough to answer his own decrepit call, growing ever stronger. Oh yes, the voices still clatter within his pus-filled ears. Their dark pulse severs as is curse and salvation, guiding him to both ruin and ascension. He has been withering reverently in their sinister embrace for many moons, and will for many more to come. I think this one wins the award for the most complicated, weirdest words and terminology of all the lore so far.